One of the most understated aspects of rideshare driving, whether operating for Uber or Lyft, is the importance of choosing a spot to rest your vehicle in between trips. What up, folks? Once again, it is indeed your boy Tim with another unfortunate rideshare video. Where do you park at between trips during your downtime? Maybe you're having lunch. Maybe you work long hours and want to take a nap in the middle of your allotted shift. Where do you park when you do not have a passenger in the vehicle? This can be very important, as you'll see here.
There is still an active crime scene on Lincoln Place. This is where police say a rideshare driver was shot in the head late last night. And right now, officers are trying to track down multiple people. News 12's Faith Graham is in Prospect Heights with the latest on this case.
Police tell us the 52-year-old man is still in the hospital fighting for his life as officers are still trying to track down those two suspects. Now, people living here in this apartment building on Lincoln Place tell us they actually saw that rideshare driver sitting inside that Mercedes van bleeding shortly after being shot in the head. The scene sending shockwaves through the building.
I was in shock. It's a little surreal because I've lived here for 21 years and this has never really happened.
Police say the gunfire erupted around 10 o'clock last night as the victim was in the driver's seat of the vehicle here on Lincoln Place. Witnesses report seeing two men hop out of the car shortly after and run off. When officers arrived, they say they found the driver with a gunshot wound to the head. They also found a firearm inside the car. It's not clear who the weapon belongs to and if it was used in this shooting. The crime scene unit could be seen combing the car for evidence and fingerprints, hoping to learn more about who was inside. People living on the street recall hearing gunshots shortly before police flooded this area.
I thought it was a firework. I didn't think anything of it, and didn't think anything until we saw the sirens and heard the sirens. It really takes you back. You think someone's just living their life, and then this happens. It's really, really unfortunate, really sad.
And back here at the scene, Lincoln Place was closed for most of the morning, and it still was as of noon. Police tell us no arrests have been made as they are still trying to track down those two suspects. In Prospect Heights, Faith Graham, News 12 Brooklyn.
52 years of age, shot in the head while simply trying to make a little bit of extra money on the side. Yikes! Now, this individual, we stated 52 years of age, fighting for his life. At the time of this video, he was reported to be in critical condition. Now, the two suspects that were apparently witnessed exiting his vehicle are still at large. But we talked about in the beginning of the video, where do you park in between trips? Because you could speculate here, even though the case has not been solved, even though the police have not released any more details, that where he chose to rest his vehicle may have something to do with this. Now, he's driving what looks like a Mercedes van, obviously going to be of some value in itself. We get a hell of a lot of drivers that get carjacked. That is not uncommon in rideshare driving, not uncommon even in the least. Certainly in an area like Brooklyn, New York, that's reported here. And this happened at 10 p.m. You already know how we feel about driving after dark, driving after hours. Just simply put, bad stuff happens after hours at a much greater frequency than it does in broad daylight. And we're not here to pretend like things don't happen in broad daylight lately either. It is summertime, and that often leads to bad folks operating at a greater frequency. Now, in this video, though, they state a firearm was found in the vehicle. Did the alleged assailants leave their own gun behind? I suppose that is something that will come out later. We advise strongly that drivers should be armed with every passenger on every trip every single damn time. So it could be possible that the driver in this particular story decided to deal with whoever may have been trying to rob him, carjack him. We don't know what sparked this off, but they found a gun in the car. It could have been the owner. That could have been the owner of the car's gun. We don't know that. Most likely, if the passengers had have used the firearm on the driver, they would have took it with them. So it would not surprise me if this Mercedes owner had his own firearm on him. And with passengers being behind you, having tactical advantage, It's not always a good time to draw your firearm when you're looking down the barrel of somebody else's. So he might have tried to draw from the drop and got shot in the head, and that's when they ran off. But we're speculating here, but as we stated, the importance of where you park means a hell of a lot. We've covered stories. I believe we covered a story in California where a driver was at a 7-Eleven just simply having lunch or something like that, and somebody pulled up on him and tried to take his car, and they ended up murdering him. So where you park it makes a big deal. I would strongly advise between trips, well-lit areas, hopefully a decent amount of foot traffic, providing witnesses and things like that, which an assailant does not want to be around. Parking on a dark street or an enclosed industrial area, or somewhere where there's not a lot of traffic around. I know some of you folks want to take a nap. Maybe you're working 10 hours and you take an hour off and you want to sleep in your car. I don't advise it. I mean, I don't ever advise going to sleep in a vehicle where somebody can look down at you and look in your vehicle when you're at your literally most vulnerable state. But in this case, it looked like this guy may have been parked on a city block. Now, it could have been a case where the individuals that shot him in the head actually were his passengers. He was taking them on a trip, and in the middle of the trip, they just pulled out a gun and started demanding shit. That happens a lot. But we're speculating whether it happened with him just sitting in one place, having lunch, in between trips or whatever, and two guys just jumped up. The other story we want to point out, another thing we want to point out is always have your damn doors locked. If you're not expecting somebody to walk up to your car, lock your doors. The last thing you want is somebody who means you no good to walk up to your vehicle and just be able to open up your door and climb in. So if you don't have a passenger in your vehicle, your doors should be locked at all times. A lot of folks drive around with unlocked doors, and it's not uncommon for bad guys to walk up to the vehicle, open up the door, stick a gun in their face, grab something out of their car and run. I've seen women purses get rammed. I mean, anything. Having your door locked gives you at least a quick barrier. Maybe enough time to put the car in drive and speed off. Maybe enough time to grab your own weapon. A whole host of things. But I do advise strongly keeping your doors locked at all times. But nevertheless, in this case, hopefully this driver pulls out of this. But he is in critical condition, and getting shot in the head is getting shot in the head. That's not a good way to be. As we always talk about, Uber and Lyft are going to do nothing for this driver at all. Not even a card, not even flowers if this guy perishes. Nothing. So it's up to you folks to defend yourself, which is why we strongly recommend being armed on every single trip, and also using your own intuition to avoid picking up people if you feel at all suspicious. Two men, I'm just going to tell you, 10 o'clock at night, there is an additional risk to that. Picking up two men, I'm not going to say to avoid that, because there are sometimes maybe two dudes want to go hang out at the bar down the street or go to the club or something. I mean, maybe two guys want to go to the game. It does happen. But the statistical probability of bad shit picking up two young men in the evening, it does increase. So just use your own damn tuition. I think you kind of know what I'm getting at. Nevertheless, pay attention to where you park, avoid dark areas, things like that, and hopefully we'll be talking about this story from an aspect of the passengers being caught and apprehended and the driver pulling through this all. Damn. Feel free to smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you in the next video.